Hey everyone, we're back. I am the Red Baron. You can check me out at Twitter at Baroncast. This is Chowster. He's been joining us tonight, and you just saw a really cool Game 1 TSM versus Curse. I was watching it, and I was just absolutely blown away. I mean, what we saw really was Curse was just being very aggressive early on. TSM trying to be aggressive as well, but didn't have quite the same map awareness, and Curse was just able to really take advantage of that, and then that abusive top lane. So, hopefully we can get in this game soon, having a little bit of difficulties, but it shouldn't be that big of a deal. I don't know. What would you think would be the big changes coming into this next game?
The biggest change will be to ban Rumble, because there's no answer to Rumble with Rain Man. He doesn't play any top champions that can beat Rumble, and that'll always be a problem. So should definitely see a Rumble ban this game.
Yeah, he's definitely a really strong champion, particularly against someone like Gangplank, who wins in the early levels, but once Rumble kind of gets going, he just really snowballs very quickly. So
the thing about Rumble is like he'll lose early against everyone. Like there's not one person top lane who wins. I mean, who loses to Rumble early. It's just once he piles on the levels, he becomes like he just gets better and better. And other lanes, other heroes just don't scale as well. And his kit is really good against melee in general. Outside of Yorick, I don't really see what you can really do against Rumble as a melee. Unless you play top lane Lee Sin, and that's really rare.
Well, couldn't they go someone like, Ryze, who's very strong? Like, if they had instead sent Ryze up top versus
if they
Rumble,
started,
or like someone like Kennen or something?
Kennen could work, but Rainman doesn't play Kennen, and he's not really, he doesn't play him very much, and if they send Reggie up top, you'll have Rainman mid, which isn't optimal because he never plays mid lane. So both ways will have some kind of weakness. Also, Ryze gets ganked very easily up top.
Dang, I'm so excited to get in this game. I just want to watch this match because that first one was just so energetic, and having a little bit of difficulties getting in the game. So I guess just give me 1 second. I might have to restart my client.
Yeah.
I guess I'm just going to have to restart the client because this isn't working. So, I guess while we're talking about it, I don't remember, what were the bans Game 1, do you remember?
Cassio was banned, Vlad was banned.
Okay.
I actually don't remember all the bans. Maybe Rammus was banned? I don't remember.
Well, I guess it's just really hard to say when the game falls out of control so quickly. Like, I mean, TSM, they definitely had a strong team comp, I felt. They had some AoE, which is countered by Maokai, of course, but they did have, a lot of single target with Lee Sin and Ryze, which is a very strong combination. So, I don't know that, I guess a Rumble ban would help them out a lot, but I think the big thing is probably just execution.
Play always has to do with it, and also, I feel like their team comp was strong also. And yes, execution was the main reason why they lost that game, that's true. Like, looking back to it, like, when Maokai ganked, like, TSM actually had a ward down, so...
Alright, I am super excited now because we are actually in the game, so hopefully we can get this started shortly. Let me drop down to spectate. Okay, oh, I'm already spectating. Okay, good. Alright, well, make sure you guys get all your friends onto the stream. This is going to be TSM versus Curse Game 2. And I don't know, it should be pretty exciting. Curse, they are, Dignitas is coming out last fall with Well Played, and that's kind of how I view it. But I am pretty excited for this, and let me just let everyone know we are ready to go.
Yeah, CRS has had some recent roster changes, and they've been a team for quite a while, but I feel like with their current roster right now, if they manage to get their starters, they're a really strong team.
Yeah, and the thing to remember, it's weird. Curse, they have a very large pool of subs. They, more than any other team, really, they've got probably like 10 different players that they can move in and out and be comfortable with in their positions. Nijaki is their normal solo mid. Sidco actually subbing in here, but Sidco, was always a really strong member of Curse. He has a great game knowledge, so he's always been very good in like the pick ban screen and helping them work out their team comps. So that's definitely not any serious step down. So they can accommodate those issues very readily.
Yeah, I feel like Sidco is actually their theory crafter. So if he makes their team comps, I feel like they'll do really well.
Well, we do see the bans so far. We have Zilean and Soraka for TSM, and then Morgana actually, so no Rumble ban, and then Sion and Maokai for Elements. TSM will have first pick those, so they could potentially pick Rumble, but again, talking back to what Rainman plays, I have never seen him play Rumble before, so...
I've never seen him play Rumble before, but I don't really see him in game, but I have a feeling he doesn't really play Rumble that much, so he shouldn't be picking it, but I don't know why they banned Zilean over Rumble that game, because Rumble was the reason why, the biggest reason why they won that game.
Though I guess also Zilean is very strong mid lane, so if, I don't know, I was kind of thinking if they send down a Bruiser to bot lane, or to mid lane, and then maybe Reginald goes up top and plays, I don't know, someone who would do particularly well against Rumble, like Cassiopeia would do well, she's available, Ryze would do well. Those are two of Reginald's favorite champions. I mean, anyone's favorite champions. They're really strong right now, and both of those would be strong picks. So then if they sent Rainman mid as his normal Bruiser champions, it's just a matter of whether or not he can, sustain mid.
The thing is about sending a Bruiser mid, AP casters in general counter Bruisers up top. So if you there's not many Bruisers that can lane against. Like you say, you put Caster or Ryze up top, and what happens when they put a champion with similar abilities mid against their Bruiser? It's similar. You're switching the matchup, so both lanes will have the same thing going for it. You'll have a Bruiser against an AP caster in both lanes.
Yeah, that's true.
It's just trading off.
We do have a couple of picks in, Cassiopeia and Vladimir for Curse, so they are going really heavy, double AP, and both of those champions definitely very strong. Cassiopeia, in my mind, one of the strongest champions in the game right now. She does well in every single laning situation. She provides a ton of control for Dragon and such, and then also, the perfect ultimate for counter initiation fights, and then also for, just AoE team fights. But then we actually have Sona for TSM, and then Yorick, who has been a favorite pick of theirs throughout their team's kind of practice.
Yes, Yorick is also a very, very big block to Vlad's early game, because Yorick's early game is so strong that Vlad can actually not lane very well. So that's probably going to be a small issue in the beginning.
You don't think that Vlad's regen is going to be high enough to deal with Yorick?
I played the matchup multiple times with Vlad versus Yorick, and Vlad eventually wins. It just, in the beginning, he's going to be pressured in the beginning. Especially with the Rammus jungle as well. So yeah, that's gotta watch for himself.
Well, the one thing that concerns me about the Rammus jungle, he will be nice and aggressive in these lanes, but if he can't get off any ganks early in this game and be successful in pressuring both Vladimir and Cassiopeia most likely, then that's a double AP comp, that's lots of CC against Rammus, and Rammus not as effective, nearly as effective against double AP than he would be against a normal comp. They don't have very good escapes other than Vladimir. Alistar will protect them down bottom. So I guess it's really going to be key whether or not he can get those ganks in, because once they start getting into team fights, it might be difficult for him to engage into Alistar and Cassiopeia.
Yes, in a team fight situation, it'll be very hard for Rammus to get into the squishies. But in lane phase, it'll be relatively easy, and that's basically the biggest strength of Rammus is his ganks. Because even if you see him coming, sometimes you can't dodge because he just powerballs in too fast, and you still get taunted. Especially with Cassiopeia, who has no escape and who sometimes decides to just push the lane and shove it. And if Rammus comes at the opportune time, it'll be a free summoner or a free kill.
And this should be pretty exciting. We've seen Reginald play a lot of LeBlanc, and she does very well against burst casters such as Cassiopeia and Vlad. She can get an awful lot of roaming, so if they're definitely amping up their early game aggression. How do you think she'll tend to do in the fights, since they do have the nice counter engage from both? Well, I guess all three, Trundle, Alistar, and Cassiopeia. How will LeBlanc fare in those team fights?
She'll do really well if she can get to Cassio, which is, if Cassio on that team with both Vlad and Cassiopeia, LeBlanc's actually not the greatest pick, especially with when you have Alistar there, who can actually CC you if you come in. And also, if Cassiopeia is really fast, she can just ultimate you. Same thing with Vlad, she can pull your second R proc. So there's a lot of things going on for CRS's team comp that can potentially be bad for TSM, but I do feel that even though CRS has Cassio and Vlad, who are both known to be dominant laners, that TSM has a better laning phase. Because Yorick is the counter to Vladimir top, and they have the Rammus jungle. And that's the biggest part, is how the lane phase is going to be played for both mid and top. And I feel like if TSM gets kills early, then they'll have a really big advantage going into the dragon fights and the Barons, but if that doesn't happen, and if the game is relatively even, and you don't snowball from the ganks, then CRS will have the advantage, because they have the better team fighting comp, because the Yorick has no synergy with their team, other than ulting MF.
Yeah, and I was going to say, I mean, they are kind of leveraging a lot of their late game for that early game advantage. They have, Rammus he's going to scale well throughout the game because he can get tanky, but against that double AP, he's not going to really be giving them much damage. Yorick definitely falls off as the game progresses, and Miss Fortune, she doesn't have the longest attack range, and she's a lot more ability-based than, some other DPSers are. She does have very good auto attacks, but, definitely not as strong as, say, if they were ulting like a Vayne with Yorick. So, I don't know, it should be interesting to see, LeBlanc, of course, will fall off some in fights, depending on whether or not they can pick people off. Sona, good all around, but if Curse can withstand this early game and then use some kiting ability, I would definitely expect Alistar to probably buy a Shurelya's, just a standard good item, and it would provide them some good kiting so that they can get in and out of fights. Then, I don't know, that late game could definitely go to Curse's way.
Definitely. But the biggest thing to watch for is just the early game, because if it does get to the team fighting, and no team is obvious, like really in the lead by so much, and obviously in the lead, then CRS's team comp will win out.
So I'm actually just going to take a look at a couple of these runes. We actually see Alistar is running Mana Regen and Gold Pretend. So I had talked with Elements. He does like those Gold Pretend, but with no defensive, I mean, he did have a little bit, but he's running, I don't know, a lot of utility stuff. So do you think that the lack of the defensive items could hurt him against the strong harass lane that is MF and Sona?
Potentially it can, but for Alistar, in a losing lane, which they should be losing, they shouldn't be on the aggressive and bottom lane, so Elements is only going to level E and just stand in the back. So he shouldn't be taking much harass anyways, unless he's just baiting them into attacking him for free. You do that a lot with Alistar support, like, say Graves needs to CS, and Alistar just walks up and pretends he's not very smart, and he'll take a hit or two for free while Graves gets a free CS, and then the Alistar's heal doubles on himself. So he'll be able to sustain much better, rather than his AD carry taking a free hit while taking the CS.
We actually saw Vladimir's also running cooldown reduction, and then on both Trundle and... who was their carry again? Trundle and Graves, they've got a ton of attack damage. They're both running 16, so that's Reds and Quints. Graves definitely scales very well with attack damage, so does Trundle. Do you think that would generally be more valuable than having that early armor pen? But I guess with the masteries, that's definitely a good decision.
Early armor pen is really good in lane, but I feel like Graves doesn't feel like he can win in lane anyway, so he should be running plus AD. MF can run both AD or armor pen because AD scales well into the game.
Okay, we're actually going to run ads real quick. We'll be right back with this game in a second. Hey everyone, sorry for the late ad slate. We are back with the game. We have Curse versus TSM. We're right in the middle of things. It should be pretty interesting, and I don't know, everyone's kind of running to mid, so we'll see where it goes from here. This bot lane, we definitely, Alistar is a very aggressive champion, but we are kind of talking about the strong harass that's coming from Miss Fortune and Sona. So do you think, you're saying he'll generally play very passive and just wait for Rammus ganks?
Graves shouldn't be trying to push lane against Sona MF because this is a losing lane. Sona MF is so strong that Graves will die if he tries to exchange. So he should ideally be trying to farm under the turret, or relatively close by to his turret, so he doesn't overextend and get denied.
We do have TSM actually moving up into the top here. I would expect they're going to come over into this jungle. I'm a little bit surprised they're not moving into this tri-brush. Hopefully everything's okay with this. I'm assuming that they're not just all standing there. That would be kind of awkward. But, okay. So they are actually moving into the tri-brush now. So it looks like they'll probably come down for the red potentially, or maybe get an early gank. I guess we'll have to see. I don't know how, I mean, stealing the red from Trundle would definitely be very valuable, but I guess they're going to just take a step back and see where the game goes from now.
Yeah, they're just going to give Rammus a normal, traditional blue start. And that's why it's going to be good to see if Trundle tries to mess with him at his own red buff. Because Rammus generally ganks with red buff. And while doing red buff, Rammus will be very vulnerable.
They are missing out on the mini golem spot though, which, I mean, considering they're blue and they already have a really aggressive lane, that advantage definitely could have helped them out to potentially start zoning both Alistar and Graves early in this game.
Yeah, that definitely set them back a little bit, but it shouldn't swing enough to change the lane because they're still the much stronger picks for bottom lane.
So a lot of this game, I guess, is going to come down to how effectively Rammus can get involved in the game, but I would probably expect most of these lanes are going to be passive pretty early on. I mean, you know, Cassiopeia I would think, is going to have a slight advantage over LeBlanc in the very early levels until LeBlanc can get to about 5 or 6. So yeah. I would assume they're all probably going to just be playing towards more towards the mid game.
LeBlanc's early game is her level 1 and level 2 are not very strong, so Cassiopeia should be taking advantage of that. But when I was watching mid, I see Cassiopeia missing like many Qs, so she's not pressing her advantage very well.
And Yorick already off the bat harassing back Vlad, but he has allowed the lane to push into him, so he should be fine there. He will be able to just farm at the tower, and Yorick will probably recall now, get a ward. That will definitely help protect him against Trundle. Bot pretty even so far. Graves taking some good harass from Miss Fortune, but Sona's taking some harass as well, so pretty even exchange, though, you know, clearly if Graves takes more damage, then that's definitely to their benefit.
Yeah. The thing about Sona support is that when you have an AoE harass with Graves, supports that play really aggressive is actually not the... Sona shouldn't be playing like that against Graves. Eventually she's going to back off and just play passive because she'll be taking too many Qs.
I'm a little bit surprised that the Rain Man didn't take the opportunity to recall, since he was, I mean, he had like 3 waves worth pushing, so we actually have Trundle coming up for a gank, and the Rain Man could have completely avoided this if he had gone for a ward. There's Trundle getting the slow on with that red buff. He's going to be able to flash away, but there's the ignite. They keep chasing, so he's actually going to have to leave now, but he will be okay. They did waste the ignite. He didn't have to use his flash, or he doesn't actually have flash, so that's a little bit surprising. That will make him a little bit vulnerable to ganks, but the heal and the ignite will definitely be a very aggressive lane up top.
Definitely. That heal will actually prevent him from getting chunked by Vlad early game.
And I'm a little bit surprised that Rammus didn't come in there. He's coming in now. We have LeBlanc being chased away a little bit, and Rammus actually flashing in and missing the taunt. Oh, he hit the taunt and she cleansed. That's right.
I didn't know she took cleanse, actually. I wasn't paying attention to the summoners in the champion select. That's really smart.
I mean, I guess those are really defensive summoners then.
Yeah. The thing is, in the team fights, Cassio actually doesn't need Ignite because the way the team fights should be played out later game is if you look at TSM's team comp, MF generally isn't known for her damage in team fights. So if Alistar just headbutts her and pulls her and she has no cleanse, the only damage dealers will be coming from Yorick and LeBlanc. And obviously LeBlanc only bursts, and Yorick doesn't do much damage, so they don't have much damage. Going into double AoE with Cassio and Vlad, which is a lot of damage. So the team fight will definitely be in their favor.
Yeah, because they know they've got such a strong late game, they can just mortgage the aggressive nature that Ignite would give you, just to keep safe in this early laning phase and not allow TSM to get off to an early advantage.
Yes, I'm pretty sure that's why they chose to get Cleanse. Because I know not having Ignite against Yorick is a big deal, because Yorick is very, very hard to kill late game. But Vladimir does have an Ignite, so they'll probably waste that on Yorick.
We do have Cassiopeia warding here. That'll definitely help protect her furthermore against Rammus. It should be interesting to see whether or not they go for an early Dragon. I mean, it would open up the opportunity for TSM to get engage on them potentially. But they definitely have the potential if they can force anyone to leave lane. Trundle and Cassiopeia are two of the strongest champions in the game at taking Dragon. So I guess that's going to be something to look out for. Though I guess they will probably want to just play defensively and not give that sort of early team fight situation.
I think it's going to be pretty hard to secure, unless they kill Cassio mid, which is actually very possible, because LeBlanc can Q. If she managed to land a QE, then Cassio is dead.
And we do have the snare and the silence from LeBlanc. She hits the snare. There's the silence going off. Cassiopeia getting off the ultimate
this could be very bad.
And Trundle jumping in. We have the ignite from LeBlanc. Can she pick up the kill? There's the first blood. And Trundle trying to get the kill. Cannot pick it up. The perfect snare from LeBlanc is going to get her out, but flashing over, able to pick up the kill.
Yeah, that was the thing about LeBlanc is even if she can't kill her lane opponent herself, the follow-up ganks with LeBlanc are among the best. You silence them, they can't summon her, and then you have a snare that can't be flashed. So LeBlanc is really, really good with Rammus. It works very well, and TSM showed right there, like, well, how come they picked that team comp? How come they picked that mid laner in jungle?
Yeah, and it was also a good job of Alistar. Because once again they're trying to play defensively, they have the clairvoyance, which will allow them to recognize where Alistar is. But in that situation, it allowed Trundle to know, exactly where to flash so that he could get the jump off. Since I believe that him and LeBlanc are probably similar speed.
Yes, I'm actually surprised. I look at the CS bottom. MF is ahead by 32 CS. That is very significant. But
Alistar actually jumping in on Misfortune. He's got her pinned against the wall. She will flash out of there. Trundle throwing off some damage, but she is going to get out of there. Yes. In the meantime, LeBlanc and Cassiopeia are both coming down. And this could be pretty scary, but LeBlanc's pretty low, so there's nothing going to happen, and Cassiopeia is going to go back to farming mid.
That gank didn't accomplish what CRS wanted to, because MF is still very, very filled, and she's going to continue denying bottom.
We are starting to get into that period of the game, though, where we're starting to see a lot more aggression. We actually have LeBlanc coming up this lane. She does double flash the little rift or whatever with her ultimate, and almost able to hit the snare. That would have been pretty devastating for Graves. That
would have been a kill, but Graves luckily burned both flashes. Good play by both characters, because normally a lot of LeBlancs wouldn't use their ultimate to W 2 times. Which covers a whole lot, like a lot of distance. So it's really good play by Reggie, right there, burning a summoner.
And we'll actually probably see Reginald roaming a lot now, but I guess the key is going to be for him to make sure he keeps up the farm, particularly in this mid lane, since, of course, roaming is always going to put you behind a little bit there.
Normally, roaming would work very, very well with LeBlanc, but they have Rammus jungle who can clear as well. So
the perfect cleanse from Cassiopeia, just narrowly avoiding that death. So Rammus,
that was really. I feel like that was bad play by Cassio right there, because LeBlanc can do that. She didn't do anything fancy. She just went in and she just W'd and didn't use her ultimate, and he had to blow both summoners. He should have just played back a little more passive, and it would have been fine.
Yeah, and now LeBlanc is going to have that blue, so that will allow her to just continue being very aggressive and moving around, kind of looking for kills. I guess we'll see whether or not that pans out. Yep. Trundle coming up in this top lane. He's going to get in the brush. Yorick did see him walk through this tri-brush here, so he knows that he's generally in this area.
I don't think that CRS knows that Yorick knows that he's there. So they're going to waste... CRS is going to waste a lot of time here. No, actually, Trundle blue pilled. That's surprising. They probably saw the creep wave pushed up so much, decided there's nothing they can do here.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, this creep wave, it's not going to, move for quite some time, so he definitely doesn't want to waste too much time there when he could be farming or, taking other advantages.
Yeah.
This is starting to get to the point in time, though, where, we will want to see the threat of Dragon. We actually have TSM ganging up here. Cassiopeia is back in base, and Trundle is up top. Though I'm assuming they know that Trundle's not here, but I don't know that they know that Cassiopeia is not available. But they are actually just going to take this Dragon really quickly.
Yep, that's really smart by TSM. They knew Cassiopeia would town, and now they just got a free Dragon. 100% free. They didn't give up anything for that, so that's a really good play.
And I'm really surprised Popelter is actually 20 CS ahead of Rainman top lane. So, for all the early game aggression, now we're into the point in game where Vlad, with that revolver, can just, absolutely dominate that lane, and already 25 CS ahead.
Yes.
Actually diving on Yorick right now, throws off the ultimate, throwing off some damage there. He's going to pull. He's not going to be able to get the kill. He's got to get out of there from the tower damage and that ignite.
Oh, yeah. That was, Popelter forgot that Yorick had heal, because normally people don't take heal up top, so he's like, oh, gotta back up now.
I'm not sure if Crumbs is expecting to tank this. He's actually diving onto Yorick right now. Vladimir definitely not in a position.
Could be very bad for
he will stall him for a second. But
Rammus and LeBlanc are swinging top, and the pings are going down though. They're backing. And now look, Cassiopeia is caught out of position.
Yeah, and actually LeBlanc's gonna pick up another kill.
She's going down. She should, if she had ultied a little earlier, potentially have lived if she could live the ignite ticks. LeBlanc just got the jump on her right there.
And so we are seeing, what TSM's trying to do starting to work out for them. They do have a slight advantage. The farm has been in the advantage of Curse, so if Curse can, definitely push it to late game, that will be to their benefit. But getting the gold onto LeBlanc is definitely really important for TSM, and, will definitely increase the aggression. We actually have the Headbolt Pulverized combo going on to X-Special. Graves not really throwing off much damage. He's just throwing off some auto attacks, trying to see, if he can get them low enough to burst them down.
Four-man dive bottom. They're both going to die.
Oh, wow. But LeBlanc coming in. Yeah, there's the kill. And now Rammus and Misfortune can just trade damage here. Misfortune has to get out of range. She does. And Sona pretty close to going down, but she's going to flash away from Trundle. So 4-1 now for TSM. In the meantime, Yorick throwing off some damage top, but not a whole lot happening there. But I don't know, that aggression of LeBlanc is really what we saw there, and it's really starting to pay off.
Yeah, the LeBlanc pick was really good for if the lane phase goes this way, and if you can take advantage of the lane phase, which they did by killing Cassio twice in lane, and LeBlanc just started roaming because there was no pressure mid, and the ward coverage can never always be perfect. So they just four-man dove bottom.
I'm a little bit surprised there's actually not more wards for Curse or for TSM. We do see a little bit of ward coverage from Curse, but almost none is none from TSM. They have the one ward in the brush here. I mean, I guess they're expecting to be the aggressors.
Yeah.
So they don't need to have as much as they normally would. But still, if I was Curse, I would try to maybe start setting up some counter ganks. We actually have Trundle coming in here onto Yorick. He was chasing after Vladimir. He probably won't be able to pick up this kill. Yorick should be fine here. He's tanky enough, I would think.
Yes, he will not go down. Elements have died. Red buff. They fed Chaos red buff, so they can't get away.
Yeah, and that's already a really aggressive lane, so that's, I don't know, going to be pretty tough for them. We actually have LeBlanc and Cassiopeia trading some damage, but there goes off the snare, so LeBlanc should probably be able to pick this up. Rammus flashing in. I'm not quite sure what the point of that flash was, so Cassiopeia actually was able to get away. They won't be able to chase her, but he could have just powerballed in. I mean, she was sitting there, follow it up with a flash. Yorick actually able to pick up the kill top on Vladimir.
Popelter goes down. So this is going really well for TSM, because had they lost the laning phase, they would be really behind going into team fight. This is exactly what they need to finish the game.
And Graves really needs to watch out. He throws off the cleanse and the flash away, so he is going to be okay. LeBlanc coming down, so this is going to be a tower. 15 minutes in, yeah, they'll definitely take this tower and, I don't know, kind of start snowballing their advantage throughout the rest of the game.
Yes, with the way this game is going, TSM is really, really ahead at this point. They don't even have the team fight, and if they do team fight, they're actually very ahead on items, so they can't come out ahead.
And this is really the strength of TSM. That first game, I feel like they underestimated Curse a little bit. You know, they've been playing really well actually since they moved into their team house, and you know what they've been trying to do moving onto the EU West server. I think they were just really taken by surprise. Actually, LeBlanc just has so much damage right now. I can't believe it. She's got the needlessly large rod, Sorc shoes. How much gold does she have? She's out of gold, but still, that'll be a 20-minute Rabadons to go with those Dorans. Tons of burst. We actually have all of Curse meeting up mid to take down this tower. That'll definitely get them some gold. Hopefully, push the game back towards them a little bit.
Yeah, at this point, even though the gold difference isn't much, I feel like TSM is incredibly ahead. That's why sometimes the gold count may be very misleading. But yes, TSM is very, very ahead at this point.
Though at the same time, if Curse can maintain this gold difference throughout, the next like 10 minutes of this game, that's definitely going to start getting to the point where it swings to their favor.
If Curse manages to farm, just for like not really. And not lose a team fight by a lot. If they win a team fight, I feel like they're back in the game. But right now, it's really, the odds are against Curse right now.
They don't have a very good initiating ability, though. I mean, it's really all to Reginald to just, basically flash it after the enemy team, try and get the stare, try and get the silence. Cassiopeia could definitely kite very well. They're actually going on the offensive here a little bit. I'm a little bit surprised. They should back up some, so Rammus is going to Powerball in. He's probably going to be able to get in, but he's not going to.
Jorg has used his ulti, so they're wanting to fight right here, but they can't get it. Jorg ulti is down. I think they're going to disengage. That didn't work out for both sides.
But Curse, as long as they don't, fall to LeBlanc here, they're definitely... a little bit ahead as far, because they were able to hold on to some of these ults. Graves did use his, but Cassiopeia's is still up. So I guess really what they're trying to do is see if they can trade some damage and maybe set up a dragon. But Yorick actually chasing after Cassiopeia a little bit, and TSM now is in a really good position. And this is where it gets a little bit tricky because Curse can prevent TSM from engaging. TSM doesn't have the best engages. They've got Rammus really. But they're actually split up, and LeBlanc is going to be able to come in. MF with the ultimate, Rammus coming into the team, but everyone for Curse is still up, doing pretty well. Cassiopeia will go down. LeBlanc not really able to do anything there. She's able to pick off Graves, so that'll be a boon to her team. And now Curse, they're trying to get special here, but Trundle's going to have to flash away. And fight won by TSM, particularly if he can pick up this Trundle. Just one more hit.
Wow, he managed to live. That was really nice play. That was 2 for 3.
And I think the big thing there was the positioning of TSM. Reginald, I was surprised he came in a little bit later than I expected. He probably could have, bursted someone down a little bit sooner. But because he was kind of split off to the side, he has that great mobility. They were kind of distracted with him while the bulk of the team is all set up. And then, to be able to just throw off a full MF ulti onto them, I mean, the entire bullet time duration going off.
That was actually set up because Sona had hit a 4-man ulti, which is really, really nice by Xpecial.
So 9-3 right now, just a 4K advantage. I mean, sorry, don't let me say just a 4K. 4K is definitely a huge advantage right now, but I think the bigger thing is that this is really the point in the game where TSM's team is starting to peak, and this is where they really are at their strongest. And to already have a significant gold lead, it's going to be very dangerous for Curse. They did just lose that last fight, but if they can not get picked off by LeBlanc in particular and just play defensively, but all that burst just taking Cassiopeia down to half health, I mean, that's just shocking.
Yeah, it's very abusive. When LeBlanc's ahead, she can do that all day. There's nothing you can really do about it.
Everyone is farming pretty well for Curse, though, so there is always that potential that if they can avoid these fights, that will help them out. And I think the big thing is, other than Dragon and Towers, TSM, they don't really have the best team for Baron usually. Though I guess they do have great tanking potential. It would just kind of be slow, so it would really, a lot of it depend on misfortune. But I guess, they can always try and bait out the fight. I just don't know that it's going to be there like they would want it to.
Yeah, their team is really weak for killing Baron or Dragon because they have Yorick. Really, no damage items. Yorick is just there for the ultimate, really, and just to soak up damage. But MF and LeBlanc is all their damage. But they can't get to LeBlanc because LeBlanc is positioning herself really well. And CRS is playing like they're trying to get to LeBlanc. So that's why LeBlanc is actually, like during the dragon fight, like you had LeBlanc off to the side. Everyone was just like watching for her. So and doing that sometimes isn't the right thing to do.
And I think really the key is right now TSM has a team where ideally Curse is forcing the engagements, and then TSM can respond by, LeBlanc picking people off, assuming LeBlanc isn't the one being engaged on, of course. So TSM being very aggressive, pushing down these towers because they know, we don't have the best initiation from Team Curse. They do have Alistar, and if Cassiopeia can get into range, she can ult. But if Cassiopeia comes up too close, then LeBlanc's just going to burst her down. Alistar, they can kite some. So they don't have the best initiation, so that means that they can come up to this tower, just poke it down with Misfortune, and, force the engages that they want.
The thing, actually, that I just realized about TSM's team comp is they cannot push towers because the enemy, they have Cassiopeia and Graves. Both are great wave clears, and the only way for TSM to take a turret is for MF to attack with her low auto range. And they don't have great disengages either. If they actually do manage to get to MF, then MF should die instantly if an Alistar initiates while she's taking a turret. So actually pushing towers isn't TSM's forte with this team comp. They should be pressuring Baron instead.
But at the same time, that was the concern, that they don't really have the best pressure on Baron at this point in the game.
Yeah, that's also I just realized it goes both ways then, because they can't. They're not that strong at killing Baron. Oh, two man. Oh, this is both solo lanes.
Chaos way out of position here. He's going to try and juke through the brush.
I'm going to assume TSM is going to get a very big objective from two carries out of position here. Yes, they're going to take the mid tower, I believe.
And not even really, getting anything on Chaos there, so he's back. But without the damage from Chaos, I mean, they definitely don't have any tower pushing capabilities, so I don't know that was that big of a threat for LeBlanc and Vlad to be missing.
Yeah, actually, after looking at that, I think both teams just didn't do anything. They're all just grouped mid, and nothing really went down.
And I mean, this the game is stalling slightly here, and if this continues, this is to Curse's benefit.
Yes, this is to Curse's benefit because whenever a team's losing and you can stall and farm, even if you get equal farm, like the losing team is going to scale better with farm than the winning team.
I'm a little bit surprised that TSM isn't being a little bit more aggressive pushing the towers, but I guess, like you say, because of Misfortune's short attack range, that, does make it difficult. But I would think as long as she just makes sure that she stays out of engage range, she can kite back into her team. Yorick is very strong for kiting, for Misfortune. And then if, Curse gets out of position trying to engage on Misfortune, I would think that TSM, particularly LeBlanc, would be able to burst them down.
Yes, if that's true. That's true. But it's really hard for them to do that because if you're trying to take a turret, you'll be standing there autoing, and Curse can decide if they should go in or not. Mm-hmm. So it's like
we do have something to engage here.
Fight for blue. Whoever smites. Oh, that Reginald was hit by that. Reginald.
Well, Alistar actually able to pick up the LeBlanc. There's Vladimir getting the kill. Wow. They're chasing down Rammus there, able to pick up that kill.
Ghost is dead. That fight was that Alistar initiate was beautiful right there. And here Rayman does not have flash. Rayman does not have flash. He may very well go down here with the next pillar. Oh, they're gonna head straight to Baron.
Yeah, and that's probably a good decision not to chase that off. So they definitely have the damage for Baron, though. I mean, Cassiopeia, she has the blue buff, Vladimir as well, and then Trundle, Alistar's a little bit low, so tanking might be a little bit difficult. They're going to have to switch on and off. TSM definitely is going to want to look for an engage here.
They need to stop this. If they do not, Crumbs needs to stop. If they don't stop this game could very well swing very hard in CLS's feet.
They're going to get very low taking this Baron, though. Yorick running in, able to pick up the kill onto Trundle.
Trundle dies before he smites, but they still get the Baron. But now all of TSM is alive, so this could be a bad situation for CRS for staying too long.
Cassiopeia chasing down Yorick, almost able to get the kill, but is not. Rammus actually taunting Cassiopeia. Can Miss Fortune chase her down for the kill? Yes, she does. And now LeBlanc coming in, able to get a little bit of a clean sweep here. They're going to back off, but Alistar is definitely going to go down. And then Rammus trying to powerball into Vlad is going to be able to get off the taunt. So that's probably going to be another kill for Reginald. There it goes. And that's just absolutely devastating. I mean, Curse had taken a massive advantage with that Baron, potentially, where they definitely could have stalled to the point in the game where they're at, their strength. And then just sticking around too long, trying to pick up the kill on Yorick. I mean, just one more kill on Yorick, and it cost them 3 deaths, actually.
Yes, they didn't even get the kill on Yorick, so it's just they got baited into trying to kill the Yorick, who built only take items.
And now that Baron buff is down on everyone except for Graves, and that huge opportunity for Curse to get back into this game.
Yeah, they had this big opportunity, which potentially put them back in the game. I actually put them. They were a little ahead at that point, but now they just basically they just threw and they gave their advantage right back to TSM.
So another Dragon for TSM. Rammus actually stealing the red up here is going to be able to get out in time, but 13-5, a 7K gold advantage. You thought you saw TSM in Game 1, and they are ticked. I mean, they are coming back this game and just really putting on a ton of pressure onto Curse. It's going to be tough for Curse to come back. I mean, I don't know that that's, really possible at this point in the game, though. I mean, again, they still always have that late game advantage, so it's whether or not their pushing capabilities can stop TSM, because like you said earlier, Cassiopeia and Graves very strong at clearing waves. Trundle, good at disengaging, so he will give them some kite as well, and then, Alistar as well. But
yeah, definitely. I feel like if they do have a Shurelya's. CRS does have a Shurelya's, but yes, CRS can turtle. If they decide to just turtle and not do anything rash, they can come back late game. It just depends what they do with where they're at right now.
The issue is, I mean, they're already down so many towers, so it's going to be whether or not they can farm. And, I'm sure that Curse can turtle almost all day here in this situation. Reginald actually getting some good damage off onto Alistar, but they could probably turtle for quite some time.
Yes.
But they can't leave their base. So, if TSM continues to pile on this gold advantage right now, which is going to be their goal, then, maybe Curse can never get back into this game. And then that next Baron, oh wow, Reginald jumping over the wall there for a second. If that next Baron comes up, and TSM still has a strong advantage, then clearly that Baron is going to be really important.
Yes, and wow, that was a lot of damage on Kodelsu right there. Oh, he goes on MF. I'm not sure if that was
Alistar trying to get in.
3-man ulti. I'm not sure if that was the greatest idea.
But in the meantime, we have Yorick eating Miss Fortune here, but she's not going to go down. He's got to flash away, and this is a huge fight for TSM. This fight almost winning the game for them, but we have 3 from Curse.
Okay.
Almost losing the Oracles. That would have been devastating, but they were able to stall there. I don't think I've ever seen a LeBlanc with as much poke as Reginald's, and LeBlanc to me is always, it's a hard engage. You need to be able to jump at the enemy team, but he's just like jumping in and out, throwing off quick burst and then escaping. He's not concerned about getting the kills so much as just wearing them down.
He's just chunking them. That's really good play by Reggie. He knows when he can go into, because LeBlanc's combo is so fast, even if you have a stun, you can't react to it. So he jumps in, he does damage, and comes back out.
And it's weird because, I mean, one of the things that, I've always thought characterizes LeBlanc is just she's got massive cooldowns. But, he does have blue buff. That does help him a lot with cooldown reduction. He is level 15, so she does scale well with levels. But she's still very cooldown dependent. So to see him just throwing off, these consistent bursts of damage is just, I don't know, it's pretty surprising to me.
Usually I feel like LeBlanc's not really... No one really associates her with long cooldowns. It's just that they think she scales poorly late game, which actually doesn't make any sense because her ultimate is on such a low cooldown at 40 cooldown reduction that you can literally do your ulti combo, come back 15 seconds later, and do it again. And in a sieging situation, that's really, really strong. Because if you see right now, like Reggie's QR combo can do 80% of someone's HP, and then he's basically out of that fight.
Well, I guess it's really just low levels then that she's got long cooldowns. So I guess she does scale very well as far as cooldown reduction is concerned.
Oh, it's just her kit is mainly like she's an assassin.
Yeah.
That's so her cooldowns aren't the greatest.
Well, we do have TSM coming to the spot. This is the last turret that's sticking out there. I don't know. It's going to be pretty hard for Curse. Trundle a little bit behind. They're just going to have to abandon this tower most likely. But LeBlanc actually jumping in, not able to get off a lot. That Q actually disappeared. Did you see that?
Yeah, that was weird. I didn't hit anyone. I was expecting someone to get chunked by that
I
Q.
was waiting to see who was going to go to half health.
Oh, that could have... That was a lot of free damage.
I'm a little bit surprised they didn't engage on that pillar there.
Pobelter had to pull right there because LeBlanc's ultimate came out. Oh, there goes.
Wow, Alistar actually, Shurelia's and then flashing in. He's able to get on Chaos. Chaos is cleansing though, and this is huge for TSM. This is going to probably be a GG fight. They are all up right now. Now LeBlanc's going to turn back in. Chaos is still there. No one going down for TSM. They're able to pick up a couple of kills. Graves and Cassiopeia are able to get out of there, but they were never really able to be in the fight, and there is the surrender. We do have a GG. That is game number 2 goes to TSM. Congratulations for game number 2, and this is actually going to send it into game 3 of the series. That's just fantastic. I mean, complete turnaround from game 1.
Yeah, that's what the people here came to see. Like, they wanted to see like really close competitive games, and that's what like TSM has given them. Because I feel in the first game they might have underestimated CRS a little bit, and CRS, they didn't expect CRS to do their homework on them either, and they did. And that's why they came out their second game, and they're using their alternates, like their other picks, the other champions that they're known for, and they've done really well. Yeah.
And I mean, everything kind of, it was surprising. They started off the game, Vladimir taking a huge advantage top lane. Curse definitely had the really strong team as the game progressed. So it didn't seem like TSM was getting off to, that great of a start. It was kind of slow, and then, just very quickly it started to build. They were able to pick up, like, 1 kill. Reginald was able to get first blood, and then picking up the dragon, and just very slowly it snowballed. Once LeBlanc got into that game, just, taking off chunks of people's health, it was just very surprising.
Yes, LeBlanc, actually, a lot of people would say that LeBlanc is possibly one of the hardest snowballing mid-champ in the game. If you give LeBlanc an early 2 kills, she can just run around the map killing everyone. And if she doesn't do that, everyone gets denied. Mm-hmm. Because, a LeBlanc is coming down to your lane, you have to run away or you're just going to die. And when you let LeBlanc get ahead like that, it's really hard to get back in the game.
Well, thank you everyone for tuning in. Once again, I am the Red Baron. You can check me out on Twitter at BaronCast. With me was Chowster. I am going to head out actually, and we're going to have Hat Person back in here for game number 3. I hope you enjoy it. It is TSM versus Curse. Make sure everyone's watching because it has been an exciting series so far. What do you think, Curse is probably going to be looking to do coming into this third game to kind of, change things around for them a little bit?
I'm actually not sure what they're going to do because LeBlanc was a problem, mm-hmm. But if CRS played better, they could have circumvented that. So it really depends how their outlook is on that game. I don't know what they're thinking right now, but if I was in CRS's shoes, I would probably ban Yorick.
Really? You think that Yorick was that strong? I mean, he did get some kills on Vladimir. That was a little bit surprising.
Yeah, that was very surprising, and it's not so much the banning Yorick, because Yorick's utility in the team fight, especially if you're even or ahead, is too much. Especially if TSM builds a comp around Yorick that will synergize better than what they had. That is it's really hard to deal with. And Yorick will pretty much beat all of Pobelter's top lane champions. And if Pobelter doesn't win his lane, that's a big problem for CRS, because that's one of their biggest strengths.
And I guess one of the big benefits to Yorick is he does have that range slow ability, which it gives them a little bit of an engage, not much, but it helps them a lot for kiting, which is something that they kind of lacked on their team. They had Sona and Yorick that actually allowed them to kite very well. So they had great kiting. And that would allow, LeBlanc to just kind of poke people down and not have to worry about a hard engage from, Curse, which is what they were trying to accomplish.
Yeah, the thing is, if those team fights, how those team fights went down, CRS had pretty good initiations each time, but every time they tried to come in, Sona would ulti 3 or 4 people, and that just countered everything. And, you're back at a stalemate, except now, their position is compromised. So TSM will take advantage of that, and that's what happened in those team fights.
All right, well, we're going to go to a commercial break. Thank you, everyone, for watching Game 2, TSM versus Curse. Hat Person will be back in a second, so make sure you stay tuned for game number 3 of this exciting series.